Hi and welcome to another video by RU Arty Kids. So in this video we're going to look at making an African tribal mask out of using air drying clay. So what we've done to start off with is obviously the design and planning stage. So looking at various tribal masks on the internet, broken it down into some basic geometric shapes, so such as circles, triangles, rectangles, ovals, hexagons, pentagons, sort of diamonds. So just done some design work on looking at the heads, different options that I might develop, and then broken it down into typical sort of facial features. So done the same again, looked across lots of masks that are already in existence, historical and contemporary, looked at eyes, looked at different mouth options, even went then and looked at things like noses for possibilities, and then even external decoration as well. Quite a lot of tribal masks usually have things like straw or fur. Some have ears, some have these sort of outer sort of elements here, sort of medallion elements around the outside. So I've done a lot of consideration there, and then from that what I thought I'd do is try and generate some quick ideas. So split an A4 page into 8 little boxes, and the emphasis in this element is about ideas generation. So using your creativity, not concentrating too much on the drawing, so don't stress about how good the quality of the drawing is. So remember, drawing can be for different purposes. So this is about drawing for ideas generation. So I want to be quite quick and it's getting your thoughts down on paper. So we've got an oval one here with a round mouth, some external decoration. So rattle through a series of ideas. Once you've got those ideas, it's a case of reviewing them and thinking, okay, which is the strongest? Is the one that jumps off, or are there elements of several that jump off for you? And what you can do from there is you can develop your strongest idea, or maybe elements of several ideas, towards your final mask. So what I've done is I've picked certain elements from my initial ideas, quite like this oval or round shape, some of these sort of facial features, and this is the one that I think I'm going to take as the template for my final clay mask. Now, even at this point here, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with regards to decoration, because obviously we're working with clay. Some of this could be raised up or it could be worked into. So I've still got some decisions to make. So what I've done, just to do a little bit more preparation, is got myself some air drying clay, and I just made some little tiles about the size that I want to make my mask. So these are just small desktop masks, so that is about 10 or 11 centimeters, it's about 14, and that one is about 10 centimeters, about centimeter and a half thick. Obviously remember it's three-dimensional, so we need to consider all the sides and the back, and obviously we're looking for, you know, nice smoothness, no cracks for when it dries. This took about a day or so to dry, just once they've been exposed to the oxygen. Obviously that's the joy of air drying clay. So just got a feel for scale, and as I say, I think I'm going to go for probably more this oval shape, or maybe even a circular disc shape as my development piece. So just got myself a nice plastic board just to put down on here so I don't get my surface dirty. Got myself some water, which is quite nice for just adding moisture as the clay dries, and then just got a cheap throwaway sponge or a bit of cloth just in case I want to do any smoothing, and then best tools in the world, we've got our fingers. Got my design work and got a chunk of air drying clay, and I'm going to start working on the basic head shape now. So could always add more clay to it, and obviously what we'll do is we'll talk about how we join clay to clay when we get to that point, if we need to add elements to it. So just going to start working the clay, making sure I keep taking it off the board. Use something plasticky, maybe a bit of like plastic sheet or something like that, or even a bit of tin foil, just something that so the clay is not going to stick. So you don't want something like, you could use a little bit of cotton or tea towel or something like that, but just be careful it doesn't stick. And just manipulating it, just trying to get a basic sense for the head shape, and also don't want it too thin. Keep peeling it off my plastic surface so it doesn't end up sticking there. And then obviously I can start to do refinement once I get to that point. I think I'm going to have it almost resembling the human face. So getting a nice curve on the sides. And remember, because you're working with a 3D piece, that you need to consider all elements, so the sides and the bottom as well. As you can see, start to just smooth that out. So thickness wise, probably what we've got here is, I don't know, what is that? Let's have a look, let's check it out. So that's about 1.5 centimeters. So try and make sure, a little bit like a beef burger patty, try and make sure it's pretty even all the way around. So a little bit thinner there. Just got to watch that in terms of when it gets fragile. The more you work the clay, the more you're going to strip out the moisture. So this is where cracks will start to appear. Trying to get that nice smooth edge. You can always scrape clay off, you can always add to it. Could always use a ruler or a board to keep that really nice and flat if you wanted. Just keep peeling it off. Work the bottom. Just trying to cover any major holes or cracks. So we're just going to create this sort of disc shape. So a slurp of my coffee. And then what we're going to do, we're going to look at my design and think about how I'm going to work that in. Now, what you could do, you could actually just use a pencil and almost draw your design on, really, or use the side of a ruler. And so if I just put a very light halfway line there, just for a little bit of symmetry, just think about how I'm going to do this nose. So I'm just going to mark it out a little bit like you would do with a drawing almost. Position where the eyes might go. And then I think what I might do is I might have, I'm trying to think, I might have this raised up, so I might actually take some of this clay away. Use your fingers. Just going to press in. So when you're working with this, so as I say, you're either going to be adding on or pressing in. So just strip some of this clay away if you want to recess an element. And then you can always re-smooth it. Pull some of that away. I'm just using the ruler edge just to smooth and scour some of that clay away. Obviously we're not refining anything yet. Just trying to get a sense of how this is going to sit on the face. So that's going to go there, isn't it? Get rid of some of that. So I could have always added a nose onto that disc. That's another option for it, or carve in. Just got to be careful, obviously, when you're carving in that you don't go all the way through. Like have a little bit there, not to worry. So what we might do is then stick eyes back on. So just using my fingertips really, just to pull out some of this clay. Just shape. So the nose element is now standing proud, which is what I wanted. So that nose on my mask is that's running right from the top. It's a great thing with clay, you can sort of push it where you want it. And the great thing about air drying clay is that you don't need an expensive kiln to fire it. So you can buy it from most art and craft shops or online. You can get it in grey or more like a terracotta. So I've got a nice shape forming there. Then I've got this sort of mouth shape on here. So I think I'm going to go with a circular one. So I might just draw it on. So where do I want the nose to end? And then circle. Just pick that out. Scoop that away. Just keep peeling that off your surface so you don't find it's sticking. So what I'm going to do, just going to carve away some clay around the bottom of the nose. And could do with a small ruler actually, like 15 centimetres would be nice, just a bit smaller. So the advantage to obviously carving in is that you haven't got things to stick on, which comes with, you know, not really complications, but just, you know, you've got to make slip, which we'll talk about if we need to. And obviously you don't want things falling off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm using my thumbnail and I'm just pressing in around this outer ring that so I'm going for this sort of like expression. So using this outer ring approach. There we go, we've got this appearing now, and obviously I can use finger and thumb to get in there and pinch that up to create a bit of a wall, and then obviously I can use the flat part of my finger just to smooth off. Okay, so we've got that sort of basic mouth shape there, and I think we're going to do something with eyes. So I'm trying to think what I fancy doing actually. So Let's have a look at what that disc shape looks there. Just right, I think what we're going to do, let's just try this. So I made myself a little ball. So I'm going to stick that to that. Now, if you've never done this before, so what you need to do is, if you've got a bit of spare piece of clay, just make it into like a little finger pot, like that in your hand, little cup. Put a little bit of water into your little finger pot like that. You can use a brush, and then you're going to mix up a bit of a clay and water mix. Now also what we're going to do is I'm going to scuff up and hatch and crisscross where the eye is going to go, and on the bottom of the eye itself. So scouring up little crisscrosses, little scratches, and then a bit more water in there. I'm going to put this watery clay mix just on the two surfaces. Make sure you've scoured it on. Really give it a press down. Now the difficulty is I'm going to try and nip this now. If I can, just try and nip it down, pinch it down to get it to join around the base. You can always reform it once it's on there. And then I think I might quite fancy the idea of just flattening it down a little bit. I'm going to put some decoration in this once I get the shape as I want it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little line there, and I'm just going to carve away a little bit more clay. If it starts to get a bit sticky, then we can use, obviously it will dry out. Just going to pull that down. I'm trying to just get clean lines between the edge definition. And what I'm doing now is just pinching up. Get rid of some of this clay, I think. Scour it out. Cool. Just going to take it back to the layer where the nose was. And then just going to raise that up, make a bit of a ring, I think, on that lower. On the lower face. Zoom in a little bit. Just, you can see I'm just carving it out, gently applying pressure. Just getting the shape I want. Pencil's quite a nice tool actually for working with clay. And then the only other facial feature I'm going to put on there is the other eye. So roll myself another ball up. Try and get it similar size, might be a bit big. Same thing again, use my little finger pot. I'd use a brush actually, that would probably be a bit easier. Just scour into where it's going to sit. Scour the base of the eye, just fluff it up a little bit. Get a little bit of that clay and water mix. Wang that on there. Same sort of size. Try, if I can, pinch all the way around at the base. So I'm just minimizing the chance of it sort of drying and falling off. Press that down. Just forget the levels. So just a rudimentary basic sort of expression really is what we're looking for. And then what I'm going to do now is just going to pull that across the top there. Okay, just keep making sure that's not sticking to the board. Put a little bit of water on my sponge. And then I'm just using, and we're talking like literally just damp. Gently, manipulating the clay. Once you've got that smoothness, then you can start to refine your edges a little bit. It's probably a little bit thinner than I would like this mask. So now I've got the basic facial features on. Then I'm just going to start to work in some decoration. So I really like the idea of having a bit of groove in the eyes. So I'm just going to work that in there. And then I think what we might do have some decoration, just using the ruler. Just using the edge of the pencil just to create almost a little bit more pupily. Just create some space around my desk. And I think what we'll do is we're going to do some a small ruler. If I had a small ruler, I can use my scissors, I suppose. Oh, I need to find something with a smaller straight edge. Ooh, tell you what. Here we go. That'd work. Right, just a barbecue stick. Just pressing it in. Just little bits of decoration. Just working your way around like a clock face. What else can we do? So I think just press these in a little bit more. Just doing a bit of refinement. Not sure if I want anything on the cheeks here. I'll tell you what I might do. I might extend that line there. Just from the nose. Get under that. Just keep peeling it off. Right, I think we're going to call it a day in this part of the video, and I'm going to let this dry over the next day or so, and then we're going to paint it, and I think I'm going to get some straw from the pet shop, and then I'm going to hot glue maybe a straw beard or maybe around the outside. Right, just one last little going over. Put a couple of lines down that and just clean up these lines. Just give it some definition. find by rolling the stick, you're not getting that up-down pull when you're pulling it out of the clay, which sometimes gets those little fragments of clay coming out. So this has taken us coming up to about half an hour. Once you've got all your design work ready, you've got to really do this make within one session. There we go. Right, that's our African tribal mask out of air drying clay, having done all of our design work and ideas development. So I hope you liked it. If you like it, like and subscribe.